At tea time tomorrow, what story will be told by the scoreboard at St Malaise Park in Irvinstown? Fermanagh will have home advantage on this magnificently maintained pitch. But the seniors and minors turning up for training during the week were keenly aware that they go into most contests as underdogs. Fermanagh have never won an Ulster Senior Championship. Maybe there's a good omen in the fact that back in 1982, when they reached the Ulster final, they opened that campaign with a victory over Derry.
I remember standing these goals that day, the day we beat Derry in 1982. And I suppose typical of a team that was starved of success when we did get the run going. We went on to beat Tyrone in the semi-final and were unlucky against Armagh in the final. The following year, should have followed it up. We beat Down in the first round here again in Irvinstown and lost to Cavan in the semi-final. So, I mean, the way I look at it is if Fermanagh get past their first round match, there's no knowing what they'll do.
But Fermanagh entered the championship knowing they had a very poor league campaign with only one victory over Westmeath. Probably the most important task facing Peter Green and fellow selectors Onie Callaghan and Tony Cullen is to convince their players to believe in themselves. That challenge is made all the more difficult because of injuries to key members of the panel. Liam Maguire damaged knee ligaments in a club game. He's hoping to fill a vacancy in the full back line left by the selectors.
Well, I was in a club match 2 weeks ago against a local club team. Fella just fell right across my knee in a bad position, put it somewhere where it shouldn't have been, and put the bone slightly out of joint and strained one of the ligaments. So I've been working on it this last 2 weeks now, trying to get back into shape.
What sort of work have you been doing to try and sort it out?
Initially I couldn't put it down to the ground at all, but just basically started off with getting the muscles going, getting the circulation going, and then into walking, now jogging, and hopefully back into training before the weekend.
What sort of a disappointment would it be for you if you don't manage to make the championship this year?
Well, it's basically the fact that you're training over this last 3, 4, 5 months over the winter in preparation for a championship match. Fermanagh's case, it only comes around once a year this last few years, so it's a big disappointment if you miss out this close to a championship match.
The greatest surprise in the team selection is that Enniskillen Gales man John Rehill is among the subs. If trainer Jim Carty has his way, Fermanagh will contest every single ball.
No, simple ball, you should have won it. Fire in your belly, as they say. Paul, you should have been in there for that. You should have been, oh, boy, that's what it's all about. That's what you're there for.
For the first time in the history of the Devonish club, 5 of its players line out for the county, led by and full-back Bart O'Brien.
Well, I'd say that's definitely the strongest point of the Derry team is in midfield. Has to be. Although I've seen the team in the paper today, whether they'll stick to it or not, that's the big question, but they probably will. But definitely midfield is their strongest point.
The major population centre in County Derry is Derry City. It's a curious fact that the county team rarely includes players from here. The GAA strongholds are further south, in places like Balahi, the hometown of manager Tommy Diamond and Danny Quinn of the local Wolf Tones club.
In South Derry, we're brought up with football, Gaelic football, whereas in the city, soccer seems to be like through schools and everything. In the Derry city, soccer seems to be promoted, where largely like around South Derry and the rural areas, Gaelic stands out more.
You have, Danny, you have absolutely marvellous facilities here. You're only, 2 or 3 kicks away yourself from the pitch.
We're very lucky, as everybody around the town plays football. So, with everything so handy, every evening now you come around here, there's always somebody playing football at different levels, under 12 right through to seniors. So, it's a good, the facilities are there, so they're used. Sunday makes or breaks your year. It's a long time to another match in October. So if you don't win on Sunday, you're left with a whole summer sitting about. If your club's lucky enough to go on, you might have something to do, but largely you have nothing to do. Very boring.
A frequent visitor to Balahi is Enda Gormley, who plays with nearby Glen. He sees Sunday's game this way.
Taking scores naturally. At the end of the day, matches won and lost on the scoreboard. During the year we've been winning good possession at the field and maybe haven't been turning the scores we should be. So hopefully with a lot of the players forwards getting a lot more club football and a lot of shooting practice and doing a bit of extra work now, things will start to come better on the scoreboard.
I'm told you shed almost a stone yourself. What sort of condition are you in?
Well, been in worse condition, like, but I've trained pretty hard the last couple of months, and hopefully we haven't picked yet. We'll pick about middle of September.
Well, while Fermanagh will be hoping for the best against Derry, well, that hope will be shared in Leinster by the hurlers of Westmeath and Laois. Both face rather tall orders tomorrow at Tullamore.